Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Supposed to be. Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we have with us from Sweden, Inaya Oakroot. Inaya is a transformational coach and author and founder of the Oakroot Spiritual Academy. It is so great to have you here, Inaya. I'm so excited to chat with you about what you're doing.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So let's start with your name, because we were just chatting about this briefly before we started recording. So how did you come about your name? Because it's different than most people.
I born Cecilia Oakroot, and it's in English it's Cecilia Oakroot. And I wrote my two first books. They were channeled, and they were so deep, so it deepened my understanding about everything so much. So the consciousness came before I was groomed to it myself. So I wrote this book, and I under this name. And when I have written it, I felt, the world will need this book. People will need it in this time. And they were so hard to get out with it. And then I understood that it's me who's standing in the way, because I was still have, lots of identification with my name. So I asked a friend to give me a name, and she is a very good channeler, and she just got it, the name Inaya. And I got a little shocked because I felt, it's so feminine. Maybe I'm not that soft. Maybe it's not really, I can't carry this name. And I felt, how can I say to her that I can't take the name, because she gave it to me and she got it. And then all my dreams tell me what the name would do with me. And then I just surrendered. So it's my way having my name now.
That's so beautiful. Do you know what it means? Does it have a...
It means she who holds. It's about that. I think it's from the Middle East. So it's from another tradition than mine. And it's also wonderful because it makes me more free.
Yeah, and when you put your last name with that, an oak is a very big, strong, powerful tree, and you're rooting down into the ground and you're holding space. It's such a powerful name. Your whole name together is so powerful.
Thank you so much.
I knew there was something behind that story. And then when you talk about your Oakroot Spiritual Academy, spirituality always seems like it's wandering off into the ether. But when you have the oak root attached to it, it's pulling them both together. It's the duality, which is truly what you're doing. It's opening the duality of our existence to people.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do.
Oh,
Thank you.
And now your name, it's just like, it's totally in alignment with what you're doing. Names mean so much.
Yeah, it does.
When I meet people, I always ask them what if they know what their names mean. And often I'll go and look up names just to see if I can get some inkling into like who they are. Because sometimes people don't even know that.
And your name, what does it mean?
It means youthful bright light. My name is Jill Ellen.
Oh, yes. Oh, oh, names, as you say. Wow. So
So
beautiful.
powerful, it's just like,
Yeah.
and I look at the names of my children. Some of them I named purposefully, and others I looked up their names later when I realized that names had so much power. And I am amazed at how accurately they were named or how they've grown into their names. And I think maybe I think you experienced that you had a name that you were given and but you outgrew it, or
Yeah.
it was
It was
causing you not.
loaded. It was loaded with identifications and energies that
Mhm.
I couldn't come away from, and so it was like a vacuum, living
Uh-huh.
in a vacuum. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you do what you do? Let's start there.
How I do what I'm doing? Well, I am I have several combinations that I work with customers and clients, and I write books, channel books, and when I work with people, I'm a vocal sound healer and a Akashic record healer and an energetic shamanic healer, and with them combined, it's always some way that every individual have their portal where I can feel that here is the easiest healing point, easiest path for what they are carrying, what their issue and what their intention. So I also hold lots of retreats and have it's my background is as an artist and a tennis coach, so it's also two different sectors, like really duality. So I always love this space between. In the space between, when you and I meet, in the space between, it's all happening because your energy, your questions, your answers, my energy, my answers and questions, and there in the middle, a new creation starts. And as a tennis coach, and I worked in a university with entrepreneurship as a consultant, and I found out that it was so much easier to teach tennis through entrepreneurship, and it was so easy to make people understand entrepreneurship with the talking in the terms of tennis, because if you have 2 points, it's like your own worldview comes in the middle and can see how it works in that specific way for you. So always the middle point in between duality is the new paradigm, what I see. It's the creative point and the healing point.
I see it as the infinity circle.
Yeah.
And right
Yeah.
in the middle is where you're talking about the duality.
Yeah. 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 Right. So it's we have lived in a paradigm that have had like magnetics away from opposites, like yes or no, good or bad, and we are treated to have like an easy way watching life, and insecurity if we have to take our decisions from inside because we have learned so much from outside. But actually when we can match and merge the opposites inside, we have all the knowledge that we need from inside and in the communication with each other. So it's such another so simple and so productive and so potential way of living.
And And instead of looking outward for solutions, I think you're saying that because we have it inside, if we learn to listen and to sit with
Yeah,
what we're feeling and to recognize that we do have feelings attached to things that are going on in our life or opportunities or trauma,
yeah,
all of these
but
things are part of the life experience.
yeah, but if yeah, it is, and it's a myriad and a sea of emotions, and it's hard to grasp it if we don't have the tools of divine duality. But
Mhm.
I always work with high frequency sound and guided meditations when I guide into it. But one kind of primarily divine duality is to have in one hand what you judge yourself for and what your grief, and in the other forgiveness, and have them meeting in the middle. And it's such a transformation. It's tears coming. People are coming into real forgiveness of themselves. And it's such a powerful tool to use this middle point. And why is it like that? Yes, because oneness in the middle and duality is like a triangle, the baselines. And when we come into the middle, we come as a father and mother on the side, we come to the child, and it's the light channel straight to oneness. And there, everything is love. And there, because oneness is kind of something that is only stable and fixed. It's just beingness. But in the triangle between here, when we come into the triangle, there is all the potential and the creativity. And from there, we can start to work on our new path.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because in
magic.
oneness you exist and you don't. It's just like
Yeah, right. Mm. And
it's
we have come into duality, and we have like judged duality for being bad, but actually it's just the second paradigm, and now we come to the third, and it's another coin of duality, and it's not at all a bad thing. It's just that we used it as a two polar with magnetism away from each other.
yeah. I've never looked at it that way before, but it makes total sense to me. For the longest time, we everything has been polar, you know,
Mm.
one or the other. And
Mm.
and in the duality, it's where they meet. It's it's the blending of the two.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah.
it's such immediate healing. When I have my retreats, and it comes so much, people are changing their life literally, and in such a positive ways. Everything, and they get so much help from universe because they work in the flow of all existence in the unity. So I feel it's magic. It came to me when I was on writing my book, unfolding my latest book, and
Mhm.
I just wanted to channel yin yang, what it really is. And instead of this, harmony that we draw in this form, it's exactly like the sun. The sun is like, exploding and imploding, and make its own life by that. And
Mhm.
the light and the dark do the same. It's an infinite act of creation between darkness and light. And there, every intention from us, every thought, every action comes to reality through this energy that is all around us.
I'm I'm kind of speechless because I've got all these things going through my head. Like it's I'm visualizing all of these things that you're saying.
Mm.
They form pictures for me, and it's pretty powerful stuff that you're talking
Yes,
about.
it is. It is really the origin of life that we are creator of. And the only things that stands in the way is our worldview that keep us thinking one way, and our filters that we have in our energy field that we can heal. And with divine duality, we both shift the filter and the worldview in one movement.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
It is so fascinating. I've never seen it put that way, and it just makes so much sense to me. It's like the whole, I was thinking of the yin and yang when you were talking in the beginning, but also of the infinity loop. And then when you started talking about the pulsating, the undulating between the two, it's not, and that makes total sense to me because everything is energy, and energy vibrates. It has motion to it, and that's what causes everything to be.
Yeah,
it's that motion, the energy. Even with like electrons, the reason things stick together is because electrons are shared between two molecule or two atoms. That's what gives us a stickiness. To make things solid.
And we see nature why it's so harmonic. It's because all that hasn't got a separated brain. And I don't say it's a wrong thing with the brain, because it's a laser of penetration, and it's so fantastic if we use it right. But nature has not as it's not a separated consciousness. So all nature lives in ecstasy, in this ecstasy.
And it makes noise. You can hear it.
Yeah. And that's why it's so harmonious. We love to be in nature, and we heal by nature because it's in ecstasy.
Wow. That explains so much. So you've written 3 books?
Yeah.
Okay, and what are they?
The first book I wrote between 2012 and 2015, and it translated to English one year later, and it's this creative existence, unfolding a new conscious word. And in some weeks it will come as a sound book in Spotify. So
that's
I will
exciting.
Be there. And my second book was Dream State, where you create your being.
Mm-hmm.
And the third is Unfolding, Awaken to your pure potential. So the 2 first I wrote in Swedish, and the third one I wrote in English, and had some helping me correcting my English because it's not perfect, as you hear. So it is like it is.
Pretty darn good. I'm always in awe of anyone who speaks English well, or even poorly, because I don't speak another language.
I
sort of get along in a couple languages, but nothing like the people that I talk to.
And that's also one thing that is so interesting. You know, I was holding a refugee camp for refugees. Sweden took in so many refugees, and I was a CEO of a refugee camp with about 100 refugees coming and going, and it worked so well because we didn't have a common language. So we had to connect by heart. We had to, we had to listen very carefully what I could help them with. And with that, we got so much trust. And the kids came and played in a reception with me because I'm a creator, so we had a good fun. And it's a future for everyone who comes from another country. So everyone start to helping each other. And when one moved, they come another, and the one who stayed, they help them into the family feeling. And it's mostly because we didn't have the same language. We had, people with about 14 different nationalities and different religions, and they was living tight in one camp, and it worked. It's interesting also.
It is
with
really
language.
Interesting. And I've had experiences. I've lived overseas a lot in my life. And one experience comes to mind, and this actually took place in California, in Southern California. I was riding on a train from LA down to San Diego, and I was sitting next to a woman who was from Brazil. And she was here visiting her family, and she spoke no English. And I didn't speak any Brazilian.
Yeah.
But she told me all about her family. I know she had like a couple sons, and that her son lived in San Diego, and that she was going back there, and there were other things going on in her life. And I learned about her grandchildren, and it was just like
That's
a
so
30-minute
interesting, isn't it?
conversation. It was, but neither one of us spoke the same language.
Yeah.
It was just, but I learned so much about her.
Yeah. So if we could meet first with a heart, with anyone that and not speak at first, just meet each other by energy and by heart, we will never be a stranger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Mm.
So, how do you work with people? I know you have retreats. Do you do those in Sweden, or do you do them around
Yeah,
the
I
world?
have in Sweden, and I will have abroad now, but I haven't. I haven't also. My next retreat will be through Zoom. It's a 3-month retreat of divine duality to embody it. I
Okay.
so look forward to it. It starts in early February, 3rd. And and I have my where I'm sitting now. I have a computer here, but I have another place in here where I take people for sound healing and for sessions. But mostly I work through the net because I live in an island, and it's not so many people here. People come here for the retreats, but not so many living.
That's nice, though. I like living in a small community also. It's
I have my local tribes and I have my international tribes, and they are so close to me. So I never feel alone. And of course not, because the connection with source and every guide.
and
Yeah.
everybody is so connected anyway. It's like we're
Yes.
all part of this big tapestry, and we each have our own
Yeah.
little strand.
Yeah. And it's also so good to have the silence surround, so that it's like space to create new in, and not only work and be in the space that I was yesterday, but in a new space that I can renew all the time.
Yeah. And try to capture some of that ecstasy of nature that exists around us, but when we become so busy, we miss it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not so nice to be too much scheduled up, I think. We need space to integrate and to to be ourselves.
Yeah. And it's kind of that moving back and forth between producing and evaluating and
Yes.
existing, and then producing, and then you slide back into that.
Oh, I was just in a trip to Egypt. I came home for 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it were 2 weeks of constant impulses and so many upgrading energies. And the last day, I start to long home so much, to be able to integrate and to be able to create again. I was so happy to come home, and I had so good travel. But we can't be neither take in too much at too long time, and not producing too long time. We need to, as you say, make them in divine duality. And as source, in and out. Yeah, as the breath.
The giving and the taking.
Yeah.
it
The
just the
receiver and the
breathing is,
penetrating. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So I know you offer a meditation. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I offer the meditations I have constantly. I think I live in a meditation. But you mean a special one?
On your website, there's a
Mm?
meditation that people can download.
Yes. Yeah. That
Do you want to?
it's a starter of capturing divine duality. And if you go inside there, you can also see that you can book a free discovery session. So then I can really have a personal meditation with a person and just go into the interest and needs of that person, and without no sales needed at all. Just very nice to meet people. Yeah.
I like that a lot. So when you work with people, do you channel as well? I know you're a shamanic healer,
Yeah.
but do you get messages from the other side as well, or is it
Yeah.
strictly what you feel?
No, I got I as we all are done, we are done as a connection with all, and our brain is like a laser. And when I have the intent for something, my guides come in, and then I start, and I invite them to come in, and then I specifically ask for what I'm going into, and they all know me so well, so they are all there already, you know. But it's always a collaboration, uh, even though I work mostly by myself, it's totally a collaboration with a team.
And they're the ones that you help you with the book writing.
Oh yeah, then it's just channeling. They just come in. I start to write, and the first book it was Jeshua coming in, and he had so good patience. He had been in a human body. It took 3 years. Next one took 2 weeks, and I got sick afterwards. And then there was Archangel Raphael, coming in. So it's
We're going to get this done. No more 3 years for you.
no, they don't. It took 3 years because it had to teach me. It teach me level by level. I have to rewrite the book after 1 year, and then rewrite it again after 2 years, and then the third time I was in the right channeling energy and could get it. I didn't understand the power of the heart before. So it was so complicated when we think that we have the monitor of our brain that is so magnificent, but it is, but in another way. Mm.
And what do you feel about the heart? I'm going to talk about that for a sec.
Well, the heart is this the place for our soul, and it's the energetic connection to all that is. So when I have an open heart, I can go into any energy and really have the protection from my energy field, because my energy field gets so thick as a qigong energy. When I have a expanded heart, the field is so filled with my energy. So the outer world is never threatening or never can do any harm, because the field I have surrounding me is so vivid of my energy, and it's attracting what it's attracting. So the heart, we have three intelligences: the body, the heart, and the mind. Because we live in 3D, they are gone separated because everything is going into fractals. And just going up a little bit in our other dimensions that we also exist, we are totally connected in our higher self. That's why the higher self is so intelligent, because it's not separated into three intelligences, but have one. So when we have really if our field of our heart is opening, that I do with a vertical breath that I teach my clients, the heart is surrounding all the body, and then the body starts to vibrate and the mind is embedded in the field, and then there's a third eye that thinks instead of our polar energy in our hemispheres, and then all the messages from the body enter the brain, and it's in a collaboration.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, and yeah, we know that 90% of the communication between the body and the mind come from the body, and 10% come from the mind. So it's if we have some blockages to the information to the brain goes vividly out there and constructs things that is not right for our body and not from our heart, and we start to get disconnected. And there is where healing start to take place, to make us come back to understanding who we are and our potential.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And just being able to take our minds captive, pay attention to what we're thinking about, kind of starts there, and then paying attention to what your body is doing and saying.
Yeah. Yes.
A lot of times people just go through life and unless something is really wrong and it hurts and they recognize pain, but by that time it's usually there's something else that's been going on that you've been ignoring.
Yes, and of course, if we have neglected the heart and our body for a long time, we don't know if we can trust our impulses and our intuition, because so it's a long training to start to trust, because the big thing is start to trust things that comes from inside and don't feel that it's imaginations or wrong for these circumstances, and I can't be like that in the work I have, and everything. That the trust from inside is the hard thing to come to, and especially if we have been good girls and good guys, and follow the rules and listen to others, we have lost so much of ourselves. So the way back is really needed of this forgiveness and for everything that we feel in our field that we judge, to start to embrace it with divine duality, and our remembrance of who we are start to come back.
Yeah. So fascinating. So people can get in touch with you through your website. Is that probably the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, it is. And I would love to meet you, all of you who listen or watch.
That's awesome. And so what's the one thing you want to leave the audience with today, Inaya?
That's everyone is good enough. Everyone is divine. We have a divine part and we have a personal part. And let the divine part of you shine, because you will have such a soft life with so much amusement. Follow the joy.
Thank you for joining me today. This has been amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, for me as well. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at The U World Order or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.